The banana is more than just a fruit. It's a constant presence in our lives. You find it in lunchboxes, on breakfast tables, and in grocery store pyramids. It is the world's most popular fruit. It's a staple food for hundreds of millions of people, providing vital calories and nutrients in many parts of the world. The bright yellow peel holds a predictable, sweet, and soft interior. Every banana you buy looks and tastes almost exactly the same as the last one. And this is not an accident. It's the result of a global system built on a single variety. A banana you eat in Canada or Germany was likely grown thousands of miles away. It was harvested while still green and unripe, then packed into refrigerated containers, journeyed across oceans, and arrived at a ripening center. The entire chain delivers a perfect, unblemished fruit, ready to eat at the precise moment a customer wants it. Yet this global success story has a dark side. The entire export trade depends almost exclusively on one type of banana. This banana is called the Cavendish. It is a clone. Every Cavendish banana is genetically identical to every other. They are all copies of a single plant. This lack of genetic diversity is like building a city out of a single material. If a weakness is found in that material, the entire structure is at risk of collapse. And a weakness has been found. This vulnerability is not a new story, it's a story that has happened before. We are living in a sequel. The prequel ended in disaster for the banana that once ruled before the Cavendish. A disease wiped it from the face of the earth. Now a new version of that same disease is back. It is targeting the Cavendish. The banana in your kitchen is in serious trouble. Its future is uncertain. The story of how we got here is a warning. It is a tale of commerce, biology, and history repeating itself. Before the Cavendish, there was another king. Its name was the Gros Michel, or Big Mike. From the late 19th century until the 1950s, the Gros Michel was the banana. It was reportedly more flavorful than the Cavendish. It had a thicker peel which made it more resistant to bruising. This was a major advantage in the early days of global fruit transport. The entire international banana trade was built around the Gros Michel. Like the Cavendish today, every Gros Michel was a clone. They were all genetically identical. This uniformity was their greatest asset and their ultimate downfall. In the early 20th century, a mysterious illness began to afflict banana plantations in Central America. The disease was relentless. It started with the yellowing of leaves and ended with the death of the entire plant. The soil became contaminated, unable to support banana growth for decades. This was Panama disease. Caused by a fungus called Fusarium oxysporum, it spread through soil and water. Because every Gros Michel plant was a clone, none had any natural resistance. If one plant was susceptible, all plants were susceptible. The fungus marched through plantations, leaving a trail of destruction. Entire economies built on the Gros Michel collapsed. The banana industry was in a panic. They needed a replacement. They needed a banana that could grow in the contaminated soil left behind by Panama disease, so they searched the world. They tested hundreds of varieties. Eventually they found one in a greenhouse in England. It was named the Cavendish. It was not perfect, its peel was thinner, making it more prone to bruising, but it had one crucial trait. It was resistant to the strain of Panama disease that had destroyed the Gros Michel. It was the only viable option. So the industry made the switch. It was a massive undertaking. They ripped out the old world and built a new one. New packing houses were designed. New shipping methods were invented. The entire global supply chain was retooled. By the 1960s, the transition was complete. The Gros Michel was commercially extinct. The Cavendish was the new king. Consumers barely noticed the change. The industry had survived, but it had survived by repeating the same mistake. It replaced one monoculture with another. It set the stage for the crisis to happen all over again. For decades now, the Cavendish reigned supreme. It grew in the soils that had killed the Gros Michel. It seemed immune to the plague of the past. The banana industry flourished, expanding into new territories across the globe. But in the late 1980s, a worrying discovery was made in Taiwan. Cavendish plants were dying, the leaves turned yellow, the plants wilted, the internal tissues turned a dark, rotten brown. The ghost had returned. Scientists quickly identified the culprit. It was Panama disease again, but this was a new, more aggressive version. They named it Tropical Race 4, or TR4. This new strain was different. It was not stopped by the Cavendish's natural defenses. The immunity that had made the Cavendish the savior was now useless. TR4 could infect and kill Cavendish plants with the same efficiency that Panama disease had killed the Gros Michel. The industry's worst nightmare was realized. The monoculture they had built was once again facing its own extinction-level event. What makes Panama disease so terrifying is its nature. It is a soil-borne fungus. Once it infests a field, it can remain active in the soil for more than 30 years. There is no chemical treatment, there is no fungicide that can eradicate it from the ground. A contaminated field is a dead zone for susceptible banana varieties. For a farmer, this is a death sentence. Their land becomes useless for growing the world's only export banana. They lose their livelihood. The only option is to abandon the land and try to find clean soil elsewhere. This only risks spreading the disease further. The threat is not just to the Cavendish. TR4 is a broad-spectrum killer. It affects many other local banana varieties. These varieties are essential for local food security. In many tropical countries, people rely on dozens of different types of bananas for daily sustenance. TR4 threatens this diversity as well. It is an indiscriminate plague that attacks massive commercial plantations and small backyard gardens. The return of Panama disease is not just a problem for a single fruit, it is a crisis for global agriculture and food systems. The spread of TR4 has been a slow but relentless march around the globe. After first appearing in Taiwan, it moved into Malaysia, Indonesia, and then crossed into mainland China. It then made a significant jump to the Philippines, a major banana exporting nation. With each new country, the alarm bells in the global banana industry grew louder. For years, the industry hoped the disease could be contained in Southeast Asia. The vast ocean seemed like a formidable barrier. The biggest fear was that TR4 would reach the heartland of banana production, Latin America. This region supplies the majority of bananas to North America and Europe. In 2019, that fear became a reality. TR4 was officially confirmed on banana farms in Colombia. It was the first time the disease had been found in the Western Hemisphere. The news sent shockwaves through the entire agricultural world. The invisible enemy had crossed the ocean. No one knows for certain how it happened. It could have been a contaminated shipping container, an unknowing tourist with dirt on their shoes, or imported agricultural materials. The method does not matter as much as the result. The firewall had been breached. The disease was now at the doorstep of the world's most important banana-growing region. Countries like Ecuador, Costa Rica, and Guatemala declared national emergencies. They ramped up biosecurity at ports and airports. They launched public awareness campaigns to educate farmers and the public. The measures were drastic because the stakes were so high. An uncontrolled outbreak in Latin America would not just disrupt the banana supply, it would shatter it. The price of bananas would skyrocket. The economic fallout for these countries would be catastrophic. The disease has continued its march. After Colombia, it was detected in Peru in 2021, and then Venezuela in 2023. It is a matter of when, not if, it will spread to other major producers in the region. The fungus does not respect borders. It moves with soil, water, and people. The interconnectedness of our modern world, which allows a banana to travel from Ecuador to your kitchen, also provides the perfect pathways for a disease to travel. The march of TR4 is a powerful demonstration of the fragility of our globalized food systems, showing how quickly a localized problem can become a worldwide crisis. Faced with a seemingly unstoppable disease and no cure, scientists and farmers are in a desperate race against time. The search for a solution is being fought on multiple fronts. One of the most promising areas is genetic modification. Since the Cavendish has no natural resistance to TR4, scientists are trying to give it some. Researchers in Australia have successfully created a genetically modified Cavendish banana. They inserted a gene from a wild, inedible banana that is resistant to TR4. The resulting GMO Cavendish has shown high resistance to the disease in field trials. This could be a powerful tool, but it faces significant hurdles with public acceptance and regulatory approval. Another approach is to find a new banana altogether, just as the industry did when it found the Cavendish. The problem is that there is no obvious replacement this time. Scientists are screening hundreds of banana varieties from gene banks around the world, looking for one that is resistant to TR4, tastes good, travels well, and can be grown on a massive scale. It is a search for a needle in a haystack. They are also trying to create new varieties through conventional breeding. This is extremely difficult with bananas. Commercial bananas are sterile and don't produce seeds, which makes crossbreeding a slow and painstaking process. On the ground, farmers are experimenting with new agricultural practices. Some are trying to improve soil health. The idea is that a diverse community of microbes might suppress the Fusarium fungus. This involves using cover crops, compost, and other organic inputs to create a less hospitable environment for the pathogen. While this doesn't make plants immune, it may slow disease progression and allow land to remain productive longer. The crisis is forcing the industry to question its reliance on a single clone. Some experts argue that the only long-term solution is to embrace diversity. This would mean moving away from the monoculture model. Instead of one banana, stores might sell several varieties with different tastes, textures, and resistance levels. This would make the entire system more resilient. If one variety succumbs to disease, others would still be available. However, this would require a complete overhaul of the global supply chain. It is a monumental task. A world without the Cavendish banana is a real possibility. It is not a certainty, but the threat is credible. The fate of the Gros Michel serves as a stark reminder. What can happen when a global food supply is built on a fragile genetic foundation? The loss of the Cavendish would be more than an inconvenience for Western consumers. It would be a catastrophe for the millions who depend on growing it, and for the hundreds of millions who depend on it for affordable nutrition. The banana is woven too deeply into the fabric of our world for it to disappear without consequence. The crisis is a test of our ability to respond to a global threat. The choices we make now will determine the future of the banana. Will we embrace science, accept a genetically modified solution that could save the Cavendish? Or will public fear of GMOs prevent deployment of that tool? Will the industry invest in the massive transition to a multi-variety system, or continue riding the Cavendish monoculture until it collapses? These are not easy questions. They involve complex trade-offs between technology, economics, consumer preference, and risk. The banana crisis is a parable for modern agriculture. It highlights the dangers of monoculture, and the fragility that comes with prioritizing efficiency above all else. What is happening to the banana could happen to other major crops that lack genetic diversity, such as coffee, cacao, and certain grains. The story of TR4 is a warning that our food systems are not as secure as they seem. It shows how a microscopic fungus can threaten a multi-billion-dollar industry and challenge our ability to feed ourselves. Nature has exposed the fatal flaw in our system. Ultimately, saving the banana requires a change in how we think about our food. Recognize the importance of biodiversity in distant rainforests, on our farms, and in our grocery stores. Accept that the perfect, uniform, year-round banana is a luxury that may not be sustainable. The future of the banana may look different. It might be more diverse, more resilient, and a little less predictable. That might not be a bad thing. The effort to save the banana is an effort to build a more intelligent, durable way of feeding our world.